Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lwazzz. My friends call me Lwazzz, and on this channel we discuss matters of faith, empowerment, mental health and wellness. Welcome to it. So you're a young chartered accountant in training. You are finishing off your articles. You're in the final months. You're waiting to get signed off. You've got your hours. You're just signing off your final competencies for psycha, and you're thinking that you maybe want to go overseas next year. Okay, stay tuned and watch this video because I'm going to be discussing how to get an overseas job, how to get a job overseas as a qualified chartered accountant for an audit firm. And then I'm going to discuss, the do's of how to go about getting that job opportunity. And I will be discussing salary and what you can expect to earn. I'd like to get straight into it. So first thing you need to do, this is our first do make use of agencies on LinkedIn. You need to be on LinkedIn. You need to make sure your LinkedIn is updated. You need to be looking at specific agencies, which I'm going to list in the description box. The specific agencies that are very good and have a good reputation of getting, either long-term positions like 2 years, long-term positions in the UK and the US, and Canada as well. Or you can utilize these for short-term contracts like 3 to 5 months, 3 to 6 months, where you go overseas for the busy periods and you do like a secondment. So whether you're looking for a more permanent position or whether you're looking for secondments, there are specific agencies that you need to be looking at that are very experienced in assisting people make this type of move, and I'm going to list them in the description box. The agency that I utilized was Gap Placements. I think they're now called Gap Talent, and I was working very closely with Tony Gallagher. He's now the director of Gap Talent, and he was really great. He really held my hand throughout the entire process. And so really you do need to be utilizing an agency. And again, I'm going to list the agencies that I know that people have worked with and have had good experience with in the description box. And you need to make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date. So that's do number 1. Do number 2. Now this one is a bit more of a self-reflection. So I'm going to break this point down into 2 parts. So do self-reflect on the following things. Reflect on what type of overseas experience you want. Do you want a short-term one or a more longer-term one? Do you want a secondment, or do you want like to move permanently? Once you're clear about that, you need to understand also where do you want to live, right? If you're going to do like a short-term secondment, I suppose it doesn't quite matter because you can travel. But if you're going to do a permanent move, then you need to be very careful that you're moving to a city that you could live in permanently. I think I made a little bit of a mistake because I did a 6-month secondment situation and I went to Manchester in the UK. And if you've ever been to the UK, there's London, which is an amazing city, amazing cosmopolitan, a vibe, energy. It's exactly my type of speed because it's very modern, it's very cosmopolitan, and that's what I'm accustomed to and that's what I'm comfortable with. The rest of the UK is incredibly conservative. It's very villagey, it's very much more quiet, and it's just culturally, it's just not as diverse and as vibey as London. So you really need to be careful. If you're going to do a secondment or if you're going to do a longer term experience, be very careful to be clear about what type of city you want to live in, because all cities are not made the same. So do your research in terms of where you want to be living, because if you're living in a city or a little town where there's nothing to do and it's just not very diverse, you might find that the experience is tainted by the fact that it's not an exciting place to live. So you just really do reflect on, number 1, long-term or short-term move. Number 2, what kind of city do you want to live in? Like what kind of environment? And make sure you research very closely and very carefully what type of city you want to live in, be it for 3 months or 2 years. Just think very carefully about that, because that can really ruin the whole experience if you find yourself in a dorpy in the UK or a dorpy in the US where nothing goes on, where it's kind of racist and it's not as vibey as you thought it would be. Do number 3. Okay, I'm going to give you some financial information, right? You do need to take into consideration, if you're going to move overseas, whether the salary they give you is going to give you the kind of life that you are comfortable with. The thing about South Africa is you really get a lot of bang for your buck as a chartered accountant in South Africa. If you are gainfully employed in this country, I think the average income in South Africa is about 20,000, 20 to 25K is the average income. as a chartered accountant in South Africa, you're earning way above the average, and so the type of lifestyle you can have is a very comfortable one. And so you really need that salary information, and you really need to think about when they make you an offer. You really need to be thinking about how much would rent cost, because it's usually very expensive in cities like London, very expensive. And then in the US as well, in like New York, LA, very expensive. San Francisco, San Diego, these places, it is very expensive to live there. I can't even stress that enough. Make sure that you can afford to live in the types of places you want to live in with the salary offer they make you. Do that research before you go, and just be comfortable so that you're not like shocked when you get there. And so I'm going to give you like an idea of what you would earn in a place like London, right? If you are going to go be an audit senior in like London, these are 2016. In 2016, this is what I know the offers that people were getting. That people were getting about £50,000 in 45 to 50,000 to be an audit senior in one of the big four in London. This is 2016. And in the UK and other parts of the UK outside of London, significantly less, about £35,000. Significantly. I'm gonna make a part 2 of this, because I do want to help young chartered accountants who are qualifying now at the end of the year, and even people who are in second year and they're watching the third years getting signed off, and they're starting to think about what they would want to do next year. And so I'm gonna make another part 2 of this series of helping young chartered accountants with their future, and I'm gonna kind of say, do like, should you stay in audit versus like moving out of audit either into industry or into banking, and we're gonna compare like salaries and hours and opportunities in those spaces. So that will be part 2 of this series. Thank you for watching. Mwah.